In this unit, we are going to learn two different types of transforms. I have divided this unit into 8 different lectures. So I will explain you what is the lecture planning. In first lecture, we'll have the introduction to Fourier transform. Then in second lecture, we'll see what is a Fourier integral representation. Then problems based on Fourier transform in third lecture. In fourth lecture, we'll see what is the inverse Fourier transform. Fifth is introduction to Z transform. Sixth is properties of Z transform. In seventh lecture, we'll see inverse Z transform. And in eighth lecture, we'll see what are the applications of Z transform to solve difference equations. Okay, so we'll start with the first lecture on this unit 2. And in this lecture, we'll have introduction to Z transform, Fourier transform. Okay, now what is this actually transform means? Transform means we have to many times whenever we do the experiment that are based on time domain. Okay, there are experiment which based on the time domain. So doing the calculation in time domain, it is many times difficult. Okay, so what we do in that case, we convert that function into another domain so that the calculation become easier. Okay, and that can be done by using different types of transform. Okay, and in this we are going to do we are going to see two types of transform, Fourier and Z. Okay, Miss, if we consider the example of television, then in that what happened? The actual shooting is done in based on time domain, but when we store it, it will be stored in terms of digital signals. Okay, that depends on the frequency domain. Okay, that conversion is done by using transform. Okay, continuous signal to frequency terms or in terms of digital terms. Okay, all that transform, all that conversion is done by making use of the transform. Okay, so firstly we'll see what is a Fourier transform. So Fourier transform, if you are having any function, if you have a function f of x defined in this interval, okay, minus infinity to infinity, then the Fourier transform of f of x, it is denoted by f of lambda, and or it is also denoted by capital F of x, and it is defined as f of lambda is equal to 1 upon square root of 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity f of u e raised to minus I lambda u du. Okay, so what happened? Originally, we have a function in terms of x, and by using this transform, we get a function in terms of lambda. Okay, so the this conversion is done by using this Fourier transform, and the definition is this. Okay, it is in terms of integration 1 upon square root of 2 pi integral of f of u e raised to minus I lambda u du. Okay, now this integration is independent of this variable. Instead of u, we can have any variable x. Okay, here also you can take the corresponding x term f of x e raised to minus I lambda x dx. Okay, it after solving the integration, we get this term lambda. Okay, so it is a function of lambda. Okay, and if by converting this function of x into function of lambda, if you want to convert this function of lambda back to function of x, then how to do that? That we can do by using inverse Fourier transform. So inverse Fourier transform of this function f of lambda is nothing but the original term, that is f of x, and it is given by f of x is equal to 1 upon square root of 2 pi integral minus infinity to infinity f of lambda e raised to I lambda x d lambda. So after solving this integration for lambda, and substituting the limits, we get the function only in terms of x, and that is nothing but the inverse Fourier transform. Okay, so uh, this is the basic definition of Fourier transform. How to convert a function x domain to function in lambda, and then by using inverse transform, the function in lambda can be converted to function in x. Okay, so all depends on this basic definition. So carefully remember both this definition. Now we have different types of function. So depending on that types, we can further simplify these two formulas. Okay, and that type of functions has given special names. Okay, so we'll see what are that type of function. This inverse Fourier transform is also called as a Fourier integral representation. Okay, because what happened after using inverse Fourier transform, f of x can be written in the form of integration. Okay, so this is called as a Fourier integral representation of f of x. So that is a one more name for this inverse Fourier transform. Okay, it is called as a Fourier integral representation. What are the different types of Fourier transform we have? Okay, the first type is a Fourier cosine transform. Okay, now what is this cosine transform? If the function f of x defined in the interval minus infinity to infinity is an even function. Okay, if it is even function, then the Fourier cosine transform of f of x is denoted by fc lambda and is defined as fc lambda is equal to integral 2 by pi square root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity f of u cos lambda u du. Okay, so this is generally used for even function. Actually, this Fourier cosine transform we can find it for any function, but if it is even, then we go for these standard formulas. Okay, now what is the even function? So for even function, wherever we are having x, replace it by minus x, and if we get f of x minus x is same as f of x, then we say that that function is even function. Okay, replacing x by minus x. If we get the original function again, then it is called as a even function. And for even function, Fourier cosine transform is we can find the Fourier cosine transform, and it is denoted by this. Okay, and the corresponding inverse Fourier cosine transform. If you want to come back to the original function again, then for that we use inverse Fourier cosine transform, and the formula for that is f of x is equal to square root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity fc lambda cos lambda x d lambda. Okay, after solving this integration, we get the function of x only. Okay, this is also called as Fourier cosine integral representation. Okay, previously we saw the Fourier integral representation. This we call as a Fourier cosine integral representation of f of x. Okay, so this generally we use it for even function. Okay, actually it can be used for any function. Means if it is mentioned that find Fourier cosine transform, then it can be used for any function. But if it is not mentioned, find the Fourier transform of some function, whether it is cosine or sine. In that case, check whether the function is even or not. And if it is even, use corresponding Fourier cosine transform. Okay, and by using this integration, it can be simplified. Okay. There is one more type, that is Fourier sine transform. If the function defined in the interval minus infinity to infinity is an odd function, okay, then the Fourier sine transform of f of x, it is denoted by fs lambda, and it is defined as fs lambda is equal to square root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity f of u sine lambda u du. Okay, so by making use of this formula of integration, we can get the Fourier sine transform. Okay, and the corresponding inverse Fourier sine transform is given by f of x is equal to square root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity fs lambda sine lambda x d lambda. Okay, and this inverse Fourier transform, this we also call as a Fourier sine integral representation. Okay, so we saw the three types of formulas. The first was f of x, the Fourier transform of f of x, that is given by f of lambda. Then we saw Fourier cosine transform fc lambda and the Fourier sine transform. Okay, actually these two formulas are the simplification, means this formula, okay, formula for fs lambda and the formula for fc lambda. Okay, these are obtained by making use of this formula of f of lambda. Okay, what we have there in f of lambda, we have integral from minus infinity to infinity. And we know the properties of even and odd function. If the integration is from minus to plus limit, and if you are having even function inside, if you have even function inside, then that integration become 2 times integral 0 to a. And if it is odd function, then the integration for odd function integration is 0. So making use of that, okay, if the function is even, then the integration can be simplified to get the Fourier cosine transform. And if the function is odd function, it can be simplified. That basic formula can be simplified to get the Fourier sine transform. Okay, all the Fourier transform just depends on these three types of formulas. Okay, what are the formulas? Formula for f of lambda and inverse Fourier transform, then formula for fc lambda and corresponding inverse transform, and fs lambda, this formula, okay, this formula and its inverse transform. Okay, so if you remember these formulas, you can easily solve the problems on this. And these formulas can also be asked for multiple choice question. What is a Fourier sine transform? What is the inverse Fourier sine transform? Or it may be asked what is a Fourier sine integral representation of f of x. So in that case, we have to write these formulas. You have to remember these formulas. In some books, you may find there is a different coefficient for this Fourier sine or cosine transform. Okay. Now, why there may be different terms. Okay. The only means how to check whether when to use which formula. Okay. The product of these two terms. The product of these two terms has to be 2 by pi. Okay, so in some books you may find here coefficient of this is 1 and here the coefficient is 2 by pi. Or in some books you may find coefficient of this term is 2 by pi. Then in that case, the coefficient of f of x integration, that will be 1. The only property we have to check is the product of these coefficient must be 2 by pi. Same for Fourier cosine transform. Okay, the product of these coefficients must be 2 by pi. Okay, so don't get confused if you see different formulas in different books. Only thing you have to remember, the product of these coefficients must be 2 by pi. It may be 1 or 2 by pi, 2 by pi, or 1 and 1, or square root of 2 by pi and square root of 2 by pi. Okay, ultimately, when we use both these formulas, at the end it will give us the same answer. Okay. Now we'll see how to make use of using these formulas, how to solve the problem. And for solving the problem, we need some more formulas of the integration. So I'll just recall the formula, that is generalized rule of integration by parts. And that formula is integral of u into v. Product of two terms will be u v1 minus u dash v2 plus u double dash v3 minus u triple dash v4 plus dot dot dot. Okay. So making use of this formula, you can easily solve the integration. So what we have to remember here, we have to do the proper choice for u and v. Here, these dash terms, this denotes derivative. Okay, these denotes derivative. U, first derivative, second derivative, third derivative, and these suffixes. This will denotes the integration. First integration of v, second integration of double integral of v, triple integral of v, like that. This denotes integration. Okay. Now we have to do the proper choice for u and v. We have to choose u such that its derivative get vanish earlier. Okay. So choose u such that its derivative get vanish, and if and choose v such that its integration is known. So if we use this formula, we can easily get the answer. Okay, just proper choice of u and v we have to remember. Okay, and then making use of this generalized rule. Any problem of integration where product of two terms is there can be solved. Okay, in that case, it doesn't have to remember the integration by parts. Just remember this formula. And quite easy way to remember is first term, find it carefully, u v1. Then next term will be negative, derivative of first term, integration of second term. That gives us the next term. So derivative of first term is u dash, integration of second term will be v2. Then plus, it will be derivative of this term, integration of this term. So it will be u double dash v3 minus, then derivative of first term, integration of second term. So like that we have to continue until this derivative get vanish. So carefully remember the first term. If you remember the first term and rule to get the remaining term, you can easily solve integration. First term is u v1, then derivative of first term, integration of second term, derivative of this, integration of this, derivative of this, integration of this. Like that we have to continue. So that is how we get the generalized rule of integration by parts. There are two more formulas of integration, standard formulas I have to remember. Already we use it in Fourier series, M2. So just recall that formulas. Integration of e raised to ax into sine bx. Integration of e raised to x into sine bx is e raised to x upon a square plus b square into a sine bx minus b cos bx. Okay, and formula for integral of e raised to x cos bx. Okay, it will be e raised to x upon a square plus b square, a cos bx plus b sine bx. Okay, already in M2 we use that. Just recall that if you are having the product of e raised to x and sine or cos term, then making use of these formulas we can get the answer. Okay, here we cannot use generalized rule because derivative of no term get vanish. Derivative of e raised to x will not vanish. Derivative of sine and cos also will not vanish. So we cannot choose u or v term, and there this formula is not useful. Okay, you cannot use this formula in these two cases. Okay, so for these standard functions we use these two formulas. Okay, now I'll take a problem and we'll see how to make use of these formulas and definitions to get the solution. Find the Fourier integral representation of f of x is equal to 4 minus x square for mod x less equal to 0 for mod x greater than 2, and hence evaluate integral 0 to infinity 2x cos 2x minus sin 2x divided by x cube into cos of 3x by 2 dx. Okay. Now here it is asked to find what is a Fourier integral representation. Okay. Now we have different types of Fourier integral representation. Fourier cosine integral representation, Fourier sine integral representation, or general Fourier integral representation. Here it is not mentioned which Fourier integral representation. So whenever we have a problem in which when it is not mentioned whether to find cosine or sine or general, in that case check whether the function is even or odd. If it is even, then use cosine transform. If it is odd, use sine transform. And if it is neither even nor odd, use the general Fourier transform. That is the first definition. Okay, so here it is not mentioned even or cosine or sine. So we check it for even or odd. How to check even or odd? Wherever x is there, replace it by minus x. So f of minus x will be 4 minus x whole term square mod of minus x less equal to 0 for mod of minus x greater than 2. Okay, we have to replace it everywhere. X by minus x everywhere in the function. Now what is minus x whole term square? Minus x square is same as x square. Mod of minus x, it is same as mod x. Okay, both are same. So because of that, we get 4 minus x square for mod x less equal to 0 for mod x greater than 2. Okay, because of mod of negative and positive terms are same. And you can see that this function is same as the original function. And because of that, function is even. And if it is even, then we have to use Fourier cosine transform. Okay, we use Fourier cosine transform. And what is the formula for Fourier cosine transform? Fc lambda is equal to square root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity f of u cos lambda u du. If we get odd function, we use sine transform. If we get neither even nor odd, then we use general Fourier transform. But here it is even, so we use Fourier cosine transform. So now make use of the definition. Just look at the given function. Instead of x, we have u term. So wherever there is a x, replace it by u. Replace this x by u term. Now, the integration is from 0 to infinity. This is from 0 to infinity. And here, this function is defined in different interval. Less equal to means from 0 up to 2, it takes value 4 minus x square. And greater than 2 means 2 to infinity, it takes value 0. So split this integration according to these function. So we split it as 0 to 2, 2 to infinity. Okay, split this function as 0 to 2, 2 to infinity. And between 0 to 2, the function takes value. Between 0 to 2, function takes value 4 minus x square. But instead of x, we want u. So it will be 4 minus u square. And the second integration will be integral 2 to infinity. And between 2 to infinity, function takes value 0. So between 2 to infinity, it will be 0 into cos lambda u du. Okay. And integration of 0 will be 0. So this integration will be 0. Okay. So only this integration we have to solve. Now you can see that we are having the product of two terms, 4 minus u square and cos lambda u. So solving this integration, we can make use of integration by parts. But if you use integration by parts, a regular rule, then at least 2 times we have to use that. But if you use a generalized rule, then within few steps we can get the answer. Now, check derivative of which term get vanish. Derivative of cos will not get vanish, but derivative of 4 minus u square get vanish after 2 terms. So we choose this term as u, and integration of cos is known to us, so we choose this as v, and then use generalized rule. Okay, so by generalized rule, it will be u v1, that is first term as it is 4 minus u square, integration of cos. integration of cos is sine lambda u divided by derivative of lambda u with respect to u, that will be lambda, minus next term will be derivative of this, that will be minus 2u, integration of this, that will be minus cos lambda u divided by lambda, that lambda into this lambda, it become lambda square. Okay, next term will be plus derivative of this term, integration of this term, so it will be minus 2, integration of minus cos will be minus sine lambda u divided by lambda cube, minus next term will be derivative of this, integration of this, but derivative of this will be 0, derivative of minus 2 is 0, so next term will not come, it will be 0, rest of the terms will be 0. So important is writing the first term will be u v1, then next term will be minus derivative of first term, integration of second term, we get this, next will be plus derivative of this term, integration of this term, minus derivative of this, that will be 0, integration of this, but as the derivative of this is 0, no need to write the further terms. Now substitute upper and lower limit. At upper limit 2, we get 4 minus 2 square, that will be 0, minus 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 3 negative, 2 into 2 cos 2 lambda upon lambda square, minus minus plus 2 sine 2 lambda upon lambda cube. At 0, at lower limit 0, sine 0 will be 0, this is 0 into cos, that will be 0, again sine 0, that will be 0. So at lower limit 0, all these terms are 0. So only upper limit we have to substitute, lower limit all the terms are 0. So we get 4 minus 4 square 0, minus 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 2 into 2, that will be 4 cos 2 lambda upon lambda square, minus minus plus 2 sine 2 lambda upon lambda cube. At 0, all these terms are 0. Okay. Now here it is asked to find a Fourier integral representation. This we got Fourier transform. Okay. This is the value of f of, okay, this is f of fc lambda, but we want Fourier integral representation, and Fourier integral representation means inverse Fourier transform. So use the formula of inverse Fourier transform. So by using the inverse Fourier transform, f of x is equal to square root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity fc lambda cos lambda x d lambda. And now put this value of fc lambda, substitute the value of fc lambda. So that gives us f of x is equal to square root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity square root of 2 by pi into minus 4 cos 2 lambda upon lambda square plus 2 sine 2 lambda upon lambda cube cos lambda x d lambda. Okay, so this is the Fourier integral representation. In short, we write it as FIR, Fourier integral representation. Okay, and here we doesn't have to solve this integration. If we solve this integration, we get the original function again. Okay, we want f of x in the form of integration, because what is it? Fourier, what this means? It is Fourier integral representation. Integral representation means f of x is written in the form of integration. Okay, so we doesn't have to solve this integration again. Only one integration in all problems of Fourier we have to solve. The second will be representation in the form of integration. Okay, if you solve this integration again, you will get the original function 4 minus x square and all that function again. So don't solve this again. In all the problems of Fourier, only one integration we have to solve. Now, if you want, you can simplify it. You can take the square root terms outside. So if you take the square root of 2 by pi outside, and if you want, you can take this minus term common, take this minus term outside. 4, you can write it as 2 into 2, and take this 2 also common. So taking -2 common, taking -2 common from both these terms. So this 2 by pi, square root of 2 by pi into square root of 2 by pi become 2 by pi into this -2 become -4. So -4 by pi integral 0 to infinity 2 lambda cos 2 lambda. After taking -2 common, here we get minus sine 2 lambda upon lambda cube. Denominator will be lambda cube, so we multiply here by 1 lambda term. Okay, so this is Fourier integral representation. Now there is one more part given in the problem. It is asked to evaluate one integral. It is asked to evaluate value of this integration. So just look at the integration which we got and look at the integration which we want to find. Compare them and then doing proper substitution for this lambda and x term. For doing the proper substitution for these terms, we can easily get the value of integral. We doesn't have to actually solve the integration. Just by doing proper substitution, we can get the value. Just compare this. We have 2 lambda cos 2 lambda. We have 2x sine 2x. Sine 2 lambda, sine 2x. Lambda cube, x cube. Okay. And instead of lambda x, we have cos of 3x by 2. So what is the proper substitution? So that substitution for these two terms, so that we get this integration. This lambda, instead of lambda, everywhere we want x term. But if we replace lambda by x, then this become x into x, x square. That will not be helpful. So what to do? First, you replace this x by 3 by 2 and then replace this lambda by x. What is the proper substitution? Put x is equal to 3 by 2. Then this become cos of 3 lambda by 2 and then replace lambda by x. So substitution is put x equal to 3 by 2 and lambda equal to x. So it will give us, you can take this minus 4 by 5 to other side, it become minus 5 by 4. F of x is 3 by 2 equal to integration 2x cos 2x minus sine 2x divided by x cube. Cos of 3 by 2 into x. Now we want the value of this term. We know what is f of x. F of x is 4 minus x square when x is mod of x is less than 2. And what is mod of 3 by 2? Mod of 3 by 2, it is obviously less than 2. So it takes value 4 minus, it takes value 4 minus x square, but x is 3 by 2. So it becomes 4 minus 3 by 2 square. Simplify it, 3 by 2 square, it becomes 9 by 4. 4 minus 9 by 4, it becomes 16 minus 9 by 4. So that gives us 7 by 4. And then multiplication of minus pi by 4 gives us the answer minus 7 pi by 16. Okay. So just doing the proper simplification by doing proper substitution, by doing this substitution, we can get the required integration. So whenever in the problem, it is asked to find a Fourier integral representation and it is not mentioned sine or cosine, then first check whether the function is even or odd. Okay, and then accordingly we have to simplify it. Consider the next problem. Find a Fourier sine integral representation of f of x equal to e raised to minus 2x minus e raised to minus 3x. Now here it is asked sine integral representation. So don't check for even or odd. Whenever it is not mentioned sine or cosine, then only we have to check it for even and odd. But whenever it is mentioned sine or cosine integral representation, don't check for even or odd. Directly use the formula of Fourier sine transform. This may be even or odd function, but still we can find its Fourier cosine or sine transform. But nothing is mentioned, then only check for even odd and accordingly use the corresponding Fourier cosine transform or Fourier sine transform. But here it is mentioned sine, so it directly use the Fourier sine transform. Okay, fs lambda is equal to square root of 2 by pi 0 to infinity f of u cos lambda u d. Now this function is defined for all x. There is no limitations for x. So directly we can put this function over here. So it will be integral 0 to infinity e raised to minus 2u minus e raised to minus 3u sine lambda u d. We are just replacing this x by u term. So we get this. Now multiply this sine term inside and separate out the terms. E raised to minus 2u sine lambda u minus e raised to minus 3u sine lambda u du. And now we know the formula for e raised to ax sine bx. So make use of that standard formula. Instead of x, we have u term. Instead of a, minus 2z, and instead of b, we have lambda. So use the standard formulas. So by using the standard formula, e raised to minus ax, e raised to x upon a square plus b square, a sine bx minus b cos bx. Okay, so using the corresponding a and b terms. Now substitute upper and lower limit. Same thing we do for the second term. Now put upper limit and lower limit. Okay, at upper limit, e raised to minus infinity. Okay, at upper limit we get e raised to minus infinity, and that is nothing but 0. And at lower limit, sine 0 is 0, cos 0 1. Okay, so use that. It gives us the term minus of 1 upon 4 plus lambda square into minus lambda, minus minus it become plus 1 upon 9 plus lambda square. This will be 0, sine 0 0, cos 0 1. It will be minus lambda. Okay, and now we want the inverse Fourier transform. So use the formula of f of x. So inverse Fourier transform, f of x will be square root of 2 by pi 0 to infinity fs lambda sine lambda x d lambda. As we are using Fourier sine transform, we are using the corresponding formula Fourier inverse Fourier sine transform. Now substitute this value over here, substitute this value here, that gives us the answer. So f of x is equal to square root of 2 by pi integral 0 to infinity 4 minus lambda upon 4 plus lambda square minus lambda upon 9 plus lambda square sine lambda x d lambda. Okay. So by proper use of these formulas of Fourier transform and inverse Fourier transform, we can get the corresponding answer. So carefully remember that 3 types of formulas: general Fourier transform, Fourier sine transform, Fourier cosine transform.